We are starting off week 7 and day 37 with another perfect problem OC. Finally, Roxanne. Here she is. In this drawing, I wanted to emphasize items and being able to draw objects. So that includes some purses, jewelries, shoes, and bags. For this drawing specifically, I stuck with a limited palette as I still wanted these items to stay in the background, and it was pretty overwhelming to color later on. I needed to focus more on my line variation, especially because I found the line art in the background too harsh. I lowered the opacity of all of those items, and that definitely helped a lot more. The background around this time was a lot more important, and I decided to let the background dictate the shading, and as I've learned from last week, I stuck to more blues and purples and pinks for shading the character and the objects around her. Although for this piece specifically, because everything was blue and purple, it made more sense to stick to that. Finally, because she's a perfect problem OC, surprise! I I added dramatic lighting from overhead, the theatrical lighting that parallels to Rita's piece from last week. I really enjoy making this, and that's probably why I keep doing it. It's just so fitting for the story, fitting for the cast, dare I say fitting for the OC, and just fun to draw in general. This drawing was super hard to put together, but I am in love with how it turned out. It's unlike anything I've created before, in my opinion, especially because I focused a lot more on the objects. Anyways, here is day 37, Roxanne. I would like to talk about something before we start diving into day 38 and the process behind it. On one of the Discord servers I talk in, one of my friends said that I should try sprinkling a little bit of some information of what my characters are about and just little details and teasers so that you guys can learn about them a bit more. I didn't do it specifically on day 38, but you can expect from day 39 and here on out that I will be doing that when I post the drawings. Anyways, back to day 38. Let's go. Day 38, aka Rumi's piece, and the last Rumitopian piece we have, was originally going to be a much darker and dramatic one, but I didn't really feel like making it on this day, and instead opted for a simpler, smaller scaled piece in every sense of the word. I went for lighter colors, and I was inspired by an idea that I had from the song Milk Crown on Sonichika, one that I definitely see as a Rumi song. It's not an unofficial official theme song per se, but it's pretty close. I mimicked the light pinks and purples and decided to use water instead of what I assume is milk, since water resonates with Rumitopia's themes more. For the shading and blending layers of the liquid, I used some normal layers and color burn, and add for highlights, of course. And finally, some final touches, triangles and stars from the cover, were added onto the almost watercolor-esque piece, and it's done. I'm pretty happy with it. Very simple and fun, and very rejuvenating, of course. So here it is, day 38, Rumi. Day 39 introduces us to another perfect problem OC, Saintina. We didn't get a lot of these in the first half of the challenge, so it's nice to be having these OCs appear in the prompts now. For today, I decided to go for another abstract painting, and I always enjoy making these painterly pieces. It makes me feel like I'm actually painting on a traditional media, and they're quite relaxing. I wanted this piece to feel abstract, out of touch, and incomprehensible, blurred even, as if Saintina didn't have any of those memories. And I tried my best to use as few layers as possible, and my approach was kind of similar to what I did for the Rembrandt study in Heiski's piece. I didn't use as much layers, and most of the blending relied on the brushes. and I used a lot of red to signify birth. I also opted for a cocoon light composition shape where the lines are curving towards the center, where the subject, aka Saint Tina, is. I added some random streaks, and that was super fun, and it helped the abstract nature come to life while directing the viewer's gaze in a certain direction. And finally, because Saint Tina is a perfect problem OC, I added the theatrical overhead lighting to really complete it. It's also an add layer, and one of the only layers I remember using outside of the base canvas. But theatrical lighting really completed it, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. I hope I can make more of these pieces. They're pretty fun. Anyways, here is day 39, Saint Tina. We are on day 40 with Satan this time, and in comparison to most of these drawings from the challenge, I wanted to explore the tools IBS offered. This includes templates, effects, rulers, and let's just say that these aren't really my strong suit, nor do I ever want to use these again. I tried only sticking with the templates and images without really messing around with them as much, but I had to adjust and shade so Satan looked natural with the background. And although the shading and blending modes helped a lot, I wasn't really supposed to be doing that for this prompt, and actually I imagined it to look more like the This Is For MV with a blue sky and paler buildings. But I mean, I tried finding what I could. This was difficult. And I even had to search some references for the motorcycle because I had no clue what I was gonna do for the motorcycle. I never drew a motorcycle until today. Anyways, nonetheless, I did learn quite a bit of things, though I'm not sure if I want to use some of these stuff again. So here it is, day 40, Satan. Day 41 marks the very last day where I would be working on a redraw prompt for the series. I can't believe we're so far already. I'll be redrawing over this picture this time. I unfortunately can't remember where I found it, nor did I save where I originally found it, but I thought it was a nice picture to draw over. This time I wanted to work on my improvision skills, aka improvising the picture without alternating it too much. And everything felt surprisingly easy to make, and adding the details made it look like those teen videos where they draw over the screen and add a lot of effects with a mix of 2D and 3D. Kind of reminded me of a couple of things: Mitchell's versus the Machines, the Love Me Less lyric video from Jessica Bio, Jemiarth's Instagram stories, and I'm Not a Cynic by Alec Benjamin. Kind of reminded me of quite a bit of those. But I'd say it worked out in the end, and adding some final touches made the piece finished. There's not much else to say. It was pretty easy, pretty quick, and I had a good time. So here it is, day 41, Sean. Our final piece for this week and day 42 of the overall drawing challenge is dedicated to another major OC, Shuji. I finally get to draw more of these, even though I just drew Satan 2 days ago. This was so much fun to make, from the strokes to the tears, and even Shuji herself. This is one of my favorites that I've made, and it allowed me to do so much that I've always wanted to explore with in my artworks. I decided to add some petals and soft strokes to give this out-of-touch, light look. The brushes I found really paid off, and they really helped here, especially the alcohol marker, which was shocking. But when I made the pen bigger, it really helped with those petals. I added some light colors again for the tears using a linear burn layer, and some extra hair shading based on the background, which, even though it is white in this case, I decided to opt for some purple and pink. And it was just so much fun to make in general. I thoroughly enjoyed creating this piece. It felt so easy to put together, and yet I'm just so happy with it. It's simple, yet effective for me in telling what kind of story without giving too much away. And I don't know, in general, I just really love how Shuji's came out. I couldn't stop staring at it for a good long while, if I'm being honest. It just looks so magical, and it feels like time froze with the scene that I picked for it. And I'm just really happy with how it turned out. Gosh, I said that 5 times. In general, I would say that week 7 was very successful. I feel like I'm finally starting to get a foothold on what I want my art style and my workflow to feel like, and I guess the word artistic identity in this case. And to add on to that, I'm happy with how all these pieces came out. Every single one of them, maybe except Satan's because his was a bit complicated and underwhelming, was super fun to make, and I'm super happy with how they came out. I love how Roxanne's tested me on how to draw objects. I love how Rumi's was so simple yet fun to make. Shuji's is absolutely one of my favorites. I need to start making more tear related pieces, or pieces where my OCs are crying, because those are so fun to make. And Sean's, in a weird way, was fun too, in his way. And of course, I love Saint Tina's because I love making those painterly pieces. They're great for making concept works. As for the drawing challenge, there will be 2 weeks left. One of them is going to have 6 days, and one of them is going to be a bit of a half week with only 4 days, but the video will still be posted at the regular time. And that's about it. I'm very happy with how all these came out. I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. I hope that you guys have all a great day. I'm wishing you all the best, and I can't wait to see you all for week 8. Bye!